reconvene. Defense Attorney Christoph Gavin, please take the stand. Now then, if you would, Mr. Payne.
Yes, Your Honour. Well, the witness state his name and occupation?
Is as far as necessary, Your Honour. Believe me, far stranger things have gone on in this courtroom. Fine, I'll play along. First, there's one thing we need to have made clear. How do you know about the secret beneath the victim's hat? By secret, I'm guessing he means the fact Mr. Smith was bald. Forgive my curiosity, but what is it about the fellow's head? Your Honour seems having an ornate interest in it.
Objection!
I wouldn't call it inordinate, Mr. Gavin. Mr. Wright? What do you think you're doing, Wright? Wow, things sure different from the other side. You know what I mean, Apollo? Speaking of looking at the other side, let's consider something for a second. The victim wore that hat all night, never once taking it off except for that one time. That one time being the instant he was hit? Oh! When Mr. Wright returned from reporting that crime, the hat was lying on the floor. Mr. Wright picked it up and placed it on the victim's head? In other words, in order to have seen Mr. Smith's bald head, you would need to have been there in the hideout at the time of the crime. In other words, I must be the real killer. Is that what you're trying to say? Not bad, Apollo. Mr. Gavin? I'm afraid I haven't been entirely honest with the court.
What?
I assure you I had the noblest of intentions. I did it all to protect my client, Mr. Wright. Yet I'm afraid in the current situation I see little reason to hide anything. Very well, allow me to tell you the truth of what really happened that night. Finally, you may begin your testimony. Tell us, how were you involved in the events of that fateful night? The rage I sensed in that man that night troubled me, so I returned to the club. I went down to the basement and peeked through the little window to the hideout. Must have been right after the murder took place. The victim was dead as he appears in the photo. Bald head, an unconscious girl, and Wright holding a bottle in his hand. I sensed that was not the best time and place for me to be, so... Let me try it again. I sensed it was not the best place for me to be at the time, so I left. That's when the call came from Mr. Wright.
So, you witnessed the murder?
For better or worse, I missed the actual moment of the deed. Mr. Gavin, may I remind you on Mr. Wright's defence team? Your testimony is clearly disadvantageous to your client. What else could I say? I'm standing on the witness stand after all. So you are, Mr. Gavin. And you had to testify just as you did. You had to tell me you saw the scene of the crime through the little window. Mr. Wright? You had to say that, because that was the only probable window of opportunity, right, Apollo? Oh! Mr. Wright, the defence should do the cross-examination, not the defendant. Mr. Justice, are you prepared? Yes, Your Honour. I can't believe I'm going up against Mr. Gavin. This trial's getting weirder and weirder. That man, you mean Mr. Smith? He was different from other customers, his aura, shall we say. I knew he was a serious poker player, but he was more than that.
So then, you knew the true nature of your client's job?
Of course. I also knew he wasn't engaged in gambling, which would be illegal. Well, it makes sense, you know. They were friends after all. Worried for my life, I returned to a club. You see, I feared this Mr. Smith might be someone coming to settle an old score. I see. What happened then? I went down to the basement and peeked through the little window to the hideout. The little window? You mean the one you used to keep watch upstairs? Yes, a relic of ancient past. The Black Marketeers used, I believe. Why'd you go through the trouble of peeking through the window? Wouldn't it have been easier just to open the door and go into the room? I didn't want to upset Wright, you see. Upset Mr. Wright? Yes, but if my fears had been unfounded, I'd be walking on their match, bad form to say least. So far, everything he's saying makes sense. How do you know it was right after the murder? Really, no need to shout, Justice. I'll just get into that part in my testimony. Ah, there he is, the coolest defence in the West, we know and love. Even when you're standing up there on the witness stand, some things never change. I was afraid you'd change too, right? But you hadn't. You and that overbearing personality of yours. Friends like these, who needs enemies? By photo, you mean the second photograph of the crime scene? Precisely. You see, he wasn't wearing his hat then. I saw his head when he was dead. And then Mr. Wright came along and replaced the hat.
Can you describe the scene of the crime for us?
Those are the only three at the crime scene of the crime? Yes, as far as I saw at least.
Then we're back to where we started. The killer was the defendant, Felix Wright. Who else could it have been? But why didn't you talk to the police?
2 reasons. First, I didn't actually witness the very moment of the crime. Second, my office was asked to defend Wright. Even after seeing what I'd seen, I couldn't abandon my friend.
Objection! There must have been someone else at the moment of the crime.
Justice, I said I saw no one, not a soul.
But that goes against what Mr. Wright said.
Ah, yes, this mysterious 4th person, who would conveniently be the lead of killer, I suppose.
Glad to see we agree, Mr. Gavin.
Let me pose a question then. Tell me, what possible reason did the real killer have to swap the cards in the victim's hand? Perhaps you can show us a reason why such a thing would be necessary.
How can I show something I can't find myself?
Remember, Apollo, the card that was swapped out with the 5th ace?
The 5th ace, right.
Well, Mr. Justice, the question of why the killer would swap out a card has been raised. Can you point out a reason?
It's now or never.
The defence would like to present evidence to the court. Evidence showing a reason why the card was swapped out. Go ahead and point out your reason, Mr. Justice.
Take that!
My reason is this.
Is that an ace?
Why, it's got blood on it! Right next to the spade! What?
This is insane! Why wasn't I told about this? Why?
Could this be the missing 5th ace? Inconceivable. How could you? What are you doing with that card?
Well, that's the thing. Just a fishy card from some fishy girl. Oh, that card. It's mine. That is, I picked it up at the Bullshit Bowl Club the night that the murder had occurred. I gave it to my daughter. Cards are her stock and trade, after all.
No, impossible, unacceptable. The court can't accept the card under evidence. It's a fraud.
A fraud? How can you be so sure?
What? I would think the only person who could claim it was a fraud would be the one who took the real card from the crime scene, the real killer. Allow me to elaborate. What if this trace of blood was the reason? The reason for the killer to take the card from the scene of the crime. Where are you going with this? Take another look at the photo and the victim's head. At the moment of the crime, his hat fell onto the floor, and a trickle of blood ran from his forehead down the back of his head. Couldn't a drop of that blood have fallen on one of the cards? I suppose. The killer then took the card to hide the blood. Regardless, the evidence is non-permissible. Oh? Right. Regardless of how you wasted the last 7 years, you used to be a lawyer. You know what a serious crime it is to conceal evidence. Oh, we can discuss the finer points of our legal system later. What's important now is that I've answered your question. What are you talking about? You wanted to know why the killer would have taken a card from the crime scene? And now I've told you. That one drop of blood would have been decisive evidence, you see. This is baseless conjecture, baseless. Haha! I assure you it's quite based. But it's amazing, really, how a single drop of blood on a single card can lead us to the truth. It's quite simple. Well, Apollo? Yes? Try picturing the scene of the crime. In your head. Oh, fancy. The murder took place in the hideout. The body of the luckless victim was found at the poker table. And before the killer swapped the card out, there was a single card with a drop of blood on it in the victim's hand. Given this, there is one decisive problem with this scene. What is it? Let's keep it simple, shall we? Given there was a drop of blood on the card, whose position in this diagram doesn't fit? The victims, the killers, the witnesses, the second witnesses? Whose position doesn't fit with the bloody card? The second witness's position's the problem. The second witness, that would be Mr. Gavin, yes? The second witness position is far less problematic than yours right now, Justice. Or perhaps perilous is a better word. I cannot see what the bloodstained card has to do with the second witness's location. I'm afraid you're more than in peril of a penalty this time. Your Honour, one more chance, please. I suppose. Do think it over, Mr. Justice. For one thing, the killer's in the wrong place, I think. You think? Oh, fucking hell. Your job's here not to think, but to know. Just looking at you reminds me of the old days. Not the good old days, per se. How's a good old penalty sound? Let's try that one more time. And Mr. Justice, think before you sink. Well, it must be the Vic then, right? Is it the victim's position that's the problem? I don't feel... Really? It's the first witness? Fuck's sake. Look, the victim was struck on the head, sending him back in his chair. You think any blood would fall, but... Oh! Of course. That had crossed my mind too, you know. You think any blood will fall behind the body, not onto the table in front of him? Ah! Take a look at the photo again. If he bled in this position, the blood will fall on the floor, not the cards.
He's right. So what does this mean?
Incidentally, we were sitting in swivel chairs. Swivel chairs? Oh man. Apollo, try turning the chair around. What's this now?
The chair was facing the other way?
It would have to be. So we have to assume that at the time of the murder, the victim's chair was facing away from the table.
When Mr. Wright returned from informing the police, which way was the chair facing?
When I came back to the room, the body was facing as seen in the photo. Though I mean the killer turned the chair back around. Let's take the next step. Look at the diagram once more. We now know the victim was facing away at the table from the time of the murder. But this creates another significant contradiction. Again? Let's test your reasoning skills again, shall we? Apollo, whose location on this diagram contradicts our new understanding of the crime? What doesn't make sense is the second witness.
You mean to say I don't make sense?
Of course you do, sir.
As I thought.
Fuck it.
Mr. Justice, I'm a little hard of hearing. Did you say something? Would you be so kind as to show the court one more time what you mean?
The victim was struck from the front, correct? Indeed. Ah. Wouldn't it be after the killer to hit him from the front, sitting where his indicator currently is? I would think it would be quite hard, yes.
Yes, but what you're saying makes no sense. Why did the victim suddenly turn to face the wall in the middle of a game?
I believe a sufficient reason will soon come to light.
What?
There's something in this diagram that makes far less sense, actually. Look again. Apollo, if the victim was struck while he was sitting as shown here, where would his assailant be standing? Mark on the diagram. But there's no room to put a mark where the killer should be. Don't worry, just think it through and we'll see what we find. We know the victim was facing toward the wall at the time of the crime. That's the only thing we know for sure. Try to forget about everything else. The killer had to be standing, well, here.
You get points for flair, but that's about all you get.
I thought I was onto something there too.
I hardly need to point out that standing there would be impossible. The victim's facing a solid cupboard. Or are you claiming the killer climbed in the cupboard and hit him from above?
It's simple logic, really. If this was the only place the killer could have been standing, then that means that is the very moment of the crime. Wait, I know. At the moment of the crime, the cupboard wasn't there.
What's this now?
I mean, it's the only explanation, right, Mr. Gavin? Your Honour, I have a suggestion for the defence. We should rearrange to examine the cupboard in the hideout immediately. Bailiff, send a team to the crime scene immediately! Have them try to move the cupboard! Your Honour? What? There's one more thing your men should look for. Please give this to the bailiff. Yes, I see. You do belong in the courtroom after all, Mr. Wright. I do my best. But let's forge ahead here while we wait. Look at the diagram once again. It's been changed. If the killer was standing here at the time of the crime, then this cupboard wasn't here, which means... Apollo, try moving the cupboard. Thank you. As you can see, the cupboard was the problem. At the time of the murder, it has to have been shown here. Now everything is placed to reconstruct the moment of the crime. Oh my, what's this? What is it now? Look at the diagram of the crime scene once more. It appears we found yet another contradiction. What I believe to be the final contradiction, in fact. Oh dang. Notice something, Apollo? Our line of deduction is rapidly approaching its logical conclusion. Now then, Mr. Justice, please point to the new contradicting indicator. Is it the victim, the killer, the witness, or the second witness?
Take that!
About this cupboard, are we all okay with assuming it was moved? Sure, why not? Well, if it was, something doesn't really fit. The cupboard would completely cover the window to the stairs. Ugh! That's right, someone standing outside wouldn't be able to see in. Someone like Mr. Gavin. What did you say? Oh, is the coolest offence in the West losing his cool? Don't expect me to play along with your little game, right? It's only a game until someone gets killed, Mr. Gavin. And as someone was, while the window to that room was blocked by a cupboard. So, Mr. Gavin, perhaps you'd like to explain to the court exactly where did you witness the crime scene from? Excuse me, Your Honour. Order! This is a court of law, I have order! We just now received word from the investigative team of the Bullshit Bowl Club. They examined the cupboard at the hideout, Your Honour. Oh, what did they find? Well, Your Honour, turns out there's a secret passage behind it. What? Yes, I believe I mentioned something of the sort before. This is one of the tricks to the room many of our regulars know about. I do remember him saying something like that now he mentions it. A secret passage is a handy thing to have when you're engaged in illegal goings-on. Never know when you might need to duck away from the eyes of the law. So the room has a secret passage? Where's it go? The other side connects to the restaurant above. The underworld bosses could get away from the cops and enjoy a cold bowl of warships, no doubt. Just like our killer. You see where a line of simple deductive reasonings led us, Apollo? I see it, but I don't believe it. That girl wasn't kidding when she said I need this trump card for the last stand. At the time of the murder, the window was blocked and the victim's hat was only off his head for a few minutes between Mr. Smith's murder and Mr. Wright's return from calling the cops. In other words, the only place anyone could have seen the victim's bald head was from inside the hideout. Well, Mr. Gavin? Dare I ask what really happened that night? Actually, I think we can probably figure it out ourselves at this point. That night, for whatever reason, our killer had a date with Mr. Smith, a date with destiny. There he crouched, hidden in the secret passageway behind the cupboard, holding his breath, waiting for just the right moment. And the chance came and he took it. Miss O'Grady was out cold, struck by Mr. Smith. But this time was soon to come. Mr. Wright went upstairs to call the cops, leaving Mr. Shady Smith alone in the hideout with an unconscious dealer. Then our kidnapper stepped out from the secret passage of the hideout. The victim must have heard the cupboard sliding aside. Wheeled his chair around to look, and after the deed was done, the criminal must have seen the blood on the card. He would have, of course, realised the need to destroy the evidence. The single spot of blood told the whole story of the crime. Too bad for him he didn't linger any longer in the hideout that night. If he had, he might have noticed the cards on the floor and the fact that they were all red. It seems this trial is taking yet another turn. I'm truly sorry I had to see this day come, Mr. Gavin. Mr. Gavin? Mr. Payne!
Yes, Your Honour?
The prosecution will continue its investigation. As for Mr. Phoenix Wright, the defendant, he's hereby cleared of all suspicion.
Ah!
Believe me when I say I don't have to believe this is happening, Mr. Gavin. But I'm afraid circumstances call for me to issue a warrant for your arrest immediately. Oh, no need to apologise. I'd rather enjoyed myself. Not every day you get to witness a legendary attorney's dirty tactics firsthand. Your point, Mr. Gavin? Frankly, Your Honour, I'm shocked that a person of your calibre will be taken in by such a low-grade parlour trick. Excuse me? The defendant is cleared of all suspicion? This is hardly time for jokes, Your Honour. Mr. Wright hasn't proven anyone's guilt or innocence here. What he's done is use illegal evidence to put the blame on someone else. Not just anyone else, but me, his own defence attorney. Illegal evidence? Let me ask you, Mr. Gavin. Is there still any reason at present to suspect me of wrongdoing? Of course, the bottle, for instance. The bottle of wine Mr. Wright was drinking? How do you intend to explain away the fingerprints on the murder weapon? Not just any fingerprints, am I right, Mr. Payne?
Actually, yes. The fingerprints on the bottle were upside down.
I seem to recall this being an issue earlier. The court in this case demands an explanation. I can think of only one reason why I would hold the bottle upside down, and that's to hit someone at the bottom of the bottle. Well, Your Honour. I see how the court fish squirms to the last. Well, Apollo? Yes? Your boss seems awfully concerned about this bottle still, but I'm sure you can come up with a suitable explanation just like that. Yeah, just like what? Why don't anyone grab a bottle upside down other than to... Don't let him trick you into thinking his explanation's the only legitimate one. Is there really another? Take another look at the court record. I believe you'll find a simple answer there, in plain sight. How about you just say your answer in plain words? It would be hazy to deliver a verdict with unanswered questions indeed. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. If you were to grab a bottle from the crate as shown, you would pick it up upside down. Well, Mr. Justice, Mr. Gavin said to the court case. Mr. Gavin said to the court, this case demands an explanation. Don't worry, justice won't leave until justice is done. Perhaps the defence will care to enlighten the court. Remember, you have to explain why the fingerprints on the bottle are upside down.
Take that!
It's actually easier to show than explain, Your Honour. Place the bottle on the floor next to your chair. Excuse me, on the floor? Yes, now reach down and pick it up, without getting out your chair.
Ah!
See, you actually go to pick up the bottle by its neck, with your fingers upside down. Look at this photograph taken the night of the murder. Defendant Mr. Wright sat here, playing piano, bottles of wine on the floor by the side of the piano bench. He would have naturally picked up the bottles upside down several times. I can't believe it's that simple! Recall our dinner that evening, Christoph. I was drinking my usual wine then too. Basically, you used the bottle on the table to do the deed. Then you must have remembered, so you went and picked up one of the bottles from under the piano, and you switched the bottles. You took one of Mr. Wright's bottles and made it look like the murder weapon. Order! 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 What do you have to say to these charges, Mr. Gavin? Fascinating. So this is the Lindley attorney's famed tactic of misdirection. What? You claim I switched the bottle? Where is proof? Proof? Well, that's, as I thought, more baseless conjecture. I'm afraid your bottle of proof is quite empty. I wouldn't be so sure about that. Your Honour, when you initiated the investigation of the hideout earlier, do you recall I requested an additional investigation? Yes, I have your memo about it here. Retrieve the bottles from under the piano at the Borshett Bowl Club. And here's one of the bottles in question. Won't you go and dust the fingerprints too? I'd be surprised if any were on that, but his... Mr. Gavin probably wouldn't make such an obvious mistake. True. The bottle wouldn't bear a trace of anything. Say Apollo. Yes? Why don't you go ahead and examine that bottle? But why? Just humour me. Mr. Wright, the bottle will solve the case once and for all. What? That's some bottle. And there's the card. There's someone inside the bottle. What's this? That card, it can't be. Recall the unpleasant woman's testimony for a moment. Miss Olga Ulrey? Yes, our little swindling Jivochka Glanville. Wait, this isn't... You're telling me this is the planted card you disposed of? The one you mentioned in this piece of testimony? The 5 of hearts, this is the card. The bottles were swapped, and the only one who could have done that was the 4th person in the club that night. You, Mr. Christoph Gavin. Uh-oh, here comes the breakdown. That was very subdued for a breakdown. That is all. Is this your idea of revenge, Phoenix Wright? Revenge? Revenge for the events that took away your attorney's badge 7 years ago? My past is like my logic, straight and true. Nothing's changed. All I did was point the finger of justice in the proper direction. Fine. I'm glad we're going to have this little tit-a-tit, right?
This is insane! What about me? Don't I get to prosecute anyone?
I believe it's time we finally come to the end of our trial. Mr. Payne, to report for us on Christoph Gavin.
He's admitted everything. We're processing his arrest now.
I see. Still, one has to wonder why he would do such a thing. He didn't even have a connection to the victim, did he?
None we know of.
Mr. Wright, have you anything to add? I'm afraid I can't shed any more light on the matter. About this victim, Mr. Shady Smith. His occupation was listed as traveller. An odd profession, to be sure. That's all we know about him.
I'll arrange a follow-up investigation, Your Honour.
Good. Mr. Wright? Yes? 7 years and you still haven't lost your touch. Christoph Gavin was a man with as much significance for me, both as a friend and a lawyer. He was extremely talented, to be sure. I needed 2 things before I could confront him. The first was a place where no injustice would be tolerated, this courtroom, and the second was a man who would tolerate no injustice. In other words, a defence attorney. You, Apollo. Me? This is a dark time for our legal system, a twisting of justice brought in by our very own initial trial system. We have to set it right. Mr. Wright, our work lies ahead of us, and I, for one, am looking forward to it. Well, it seems like a good time to announce a verdict. This court finds the defendant, Mr. Phoenix Wright, not guilty! Court is adjourned. Thanks, Apollo. You came through just like I thought you would. I'm pretty sure I didn't do a thing in there. It was you who called him Mr. the killer. I couldn't have done it by myself. You sensed it too today, didn't you? Your ability. Ability? Yes, a sensitivity I lack. You'll come to understand it soon enough. I wonder if he means... What was that, Mr. Wright? You'll have to find the answer to that question yourself. The answer? Right. Today was full of questions about answers, most of them about Mr. Gavin. What possible reason could he have to commit the murder? Perhaps you'll learn that in the days to come. Eh? Wait. You don't know, do you? This locket is the key. Ah? That reminds me. I met the girl's pictures in your locket. Your daughter, right? That's right, she's my daughter. You know, you were right about this locket. Huh? I took this off his neck the night he died. But it looks like our dear Russian scam artist saw me. So truth is, the locket really did belong to him. But wait, that's perjury! You testified, you said the locket was yours. I said no such thing, actually. Huh? I merely said it was a locket with my daughter's picture inside. A subtle distinction, but a distinction nonetheless. And it's the truth. But then, why? Why is the victim wearing a locket with a picture of your daughter in it? Sometimes the straightest path to truth isn't the best one. Give it time. You're still just getting started with your career. Speaking of which, I may be out of a job. Oh, speaking of which, I may be out of a job. I work for Gavin Law Office after all. I still can't believe I just saw Mr. Gavin get led away in handcuffs. Apollo? Yeah? How about coming to work for me? You mean at the Wright & Co. Law Office? I mean, there's not a single attorney in my generation that don't know it. I can't imagine that to be true, but... Wait, didn't you... You're not a... Oh, I turned in my badge, yes. I'm not an attorney anymore. That incident 7 years ago. The legendary trial. And at the middle of it all was one man, Phoenix Wright. The case reached its sad conclusion and he left law for good. Have you ever thought about coming back to the courts? I'm not qualified to stand in a court of law, I'm afraid. Didn't you notice it in today's trial? There was a single piece of forged evidence. Forged evidence? What are you talking about? I'm talking about the evidence that shouldn't have existed. A naughty magician's trick. One piece of evidence struck me as odd, it's true. It just seemed, well, too perfect. I bet this was the forged evidence.
Take that!
You mean this, don't you? I got it from your daughter, Mr. Wright. Yes, that card couldn't have been found at the crime scene. Why? Because the killer took it with them when he left. Leaving the wrong card in its place, luckily for us. My verdict was already handed down 7 years ago. Then you really... Yes, I forged this card. One look at the crime scene should have told you it wasn't real. But you can't do something like that and call yourself an attorney. Who's calling themselves an attorney, Apollo? So it's true. The rumour is true. 7 years ago. None of that matters much now, does it? I punched him. It's your story from here out, Apollo. Perhaps I can help you turn the next page. My office address. Drop in if you like. Mr. Wright. Oh, about your uppercut. Try yelling, "Take that!" next time. I find it packs a little more punch. And Apollo, thanks for today. I had a good time. And with that, Mr. Wright walked out the door. And that's how my first trial ended. A lot of mysteries went unsolved, and at the time, I had no idea they were all related. Every mystery that day connected by a single thread of logic. I'd find that out soon enough. My name's Apollo Justice, attorney at law, and this is how my story begins.